It is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin, brought to you locally by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling systems. Daryl, I just want to get your case, your your take on a story that came out this week about using AI to write stories. As bad as it sounds, and there's I don't know, should we say the publication that's getting named or no? You tell me, Daryl.
Everyone knows it's Sports Illustrated.
So
if the accusations have been levied against, let's be clear.
I think the hard part is when you put a name to it. If it's a fictitious name, that's kind of ridiculous. I do see a tiny bit of value with AI sports writing, and I'll tell you where it is in a second. But the thought of putting someone's name or picture that doesn't exist, that's wow, man, we're heading down a bad.
Well, you're seeing the impact, and there was the entertainment strikes that happened this year with both the writers and the actors, the two separate strikes in Hollywood. There, AI was a big central sticking point,
right?
Because the technology is out there. I'll use Star Wars as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, they were able to CGI her in some scenes to make her young. For instance, in Rogue One, they were able to CGI her to make her look like she did back when the original Star Wars were filmed.
Sure.
So that they could tie that particular offshoot movie into the original trilogy.
Right. The general too.
Right. And I feel like that there is again, like every technology, when it's used properly, it has great use. Now,
I mean, it's fiction, so I don't see anything wrong with that there.
But here's the thing. Here's where it comes into play, though. However, CGIing her likeness, she should still, in my view, she should still be compensated for that.
Sure. And they use her voice too.
Right.
So,
and even if because you're able to auto-tune voices now too, which is really scary because they call them deep fake. I believe the terminology is deep fakes. That's what especially in the political sphere, right? Where you try and you put something out alleging that
someone said
a prominent figure said something, and it turns out, no, they didn't really say that, even though it looks and sounds like they did, because a deep fake has been created. And that is an irresponsible way of using AI, in my view. But my whole thing is with actors in that, if you're going to use AI to make a particular actor younger, right, to take years off of them, you're going to use their likeness, you're going to use their voice or their cadence and things like that, then that actor or their estate or their family for posthumous situations should 100% be compensated. Okay. AI should not be used as a way to prevent those content creators from receiving their fair share of things, if that makes sense. So in future Star Wars, now that Carrie Fisher has passed away, to recreate Princess Leia, then you either need to find another actress to play that role, or if you do the CGI thing, then it's my view that Carrie Fisher's estate or whoever's in charge of her financials post her passing should be compensated for use of her likeness.
Sure.
And things like that. I use AI a little bit at times for transcribing, but because it does kind of speed up the process sometimes, but it also can slow up the process because you still have to go out and you still have to go back and you have to proof to make sure that is correct, that is what that person said. Because one of the big cardinal sins that you never, ever do in this business when you're writing is misquote someone. You never, ever, you can't, that's an absolute, you cannot misquote somebody.
Right.
And you have to make sure that what you write is what they said. So yeah, there are, in my view, applications, but to use AI to just write stories,
it's the opinion pieces that get me a little a little worked up. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
how you could let AI write an opinion piece with a fake name and a fake picture that go along with it.
Yeah.
There is a place where AI is okay, and I'll tell you where it is. There is an app called Game Changer that's out
Okay.
there, and basically what it is it keeps stats and it keeps score for parents who can't be at their kids' games. And so one of the parents will keep score. And what's interesting is over the years, and I've seen it grow, that it started printing out game stories after these kids' games.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, really, if you think about it, and they use a real basic shell. It's like Mad Libs, right? Add adjective here, put name here. And all it's doing is interpreting the box score and using the timing of statistics and timing of actions in a game and writing a game story on it. Little Billy hit a 2-run homer, bottom of the 6th, and the Falcons win the game. And it'll be like Falcons paced by Little Billy is the headline.
Mm-hmm.
And all it's doing is churning stats and putting them in a readable format. And as long as you don't put a name to that, I don't think that like that's not a big I like
Or
that
if you
deal.
label it and say this is an auto-generated story.
Yeah, I don't know that they did that. Now you're making me look. I know right away when I read it, I can see it says,
But,
team,
hey, Andy,
generic team paced by.
please don't give our bosses any ideas. I enjoy being employed.
Well, I do too, but those things have no. I mean, they have no
Well,
personality.
you know what's going on in our business now is the AI doing radio voice tracking.
But again, you can't. How do you get to opinion there?
You're misunderstanding what I'm
Well,
saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm
what we
against
do,
AI
right?
replacing human beings doing our jobs.
Yes, no, I get that part, and maybe. I mean,
I'm pretty sure you don't want AI hosting from 10 to 2 weekdays on 92.3 The Fan for you, do you?
no, I don't. But what I don't understand is how you can have an opinion. Like,
Right.
a computer can't have an opinion.
Well, you'd be amazed.
I just think it's not right and it's wrong.
Andy Baskin is
Yes.
an idiot.
Well, that's easy. All right. Well, maybe AI is not so stupid after all. I don't know.
But no, I think that there are legitimate ethical concerns, and with the SI allegations, because they are allegations, the
Yeah.
publication has denied that this happened, even though there has been some evidence presented publicly that would contradict what the publication is saying. But again, technology is wonderful when it's used properly. I got to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to my Target and Giant Eagle Christmas parties for cashiers and baggers, because we're doing it ourselves, right? They're not
Oh,
paying
for sure.
anyone. And one of my things.
No, in fact, they're
don't-
making money on it. They're making money because they're charging you for the bags now.
right. And here's the thing: I don't stop and let them check my receipt. I don't. Hey, you know what? If I miss something, well, that's your fault. You didn't properly train me. See ya.
Is that true?
Huh?
You don't stop.
No, I just keep going. Now,
And what do they say?
Now, what are they going to do? I just keep going because it's like, first of all, I don't try and steal anything. I pay for what
Right.
I buy. There's a camera right there watching me. Like I have to watch myself bringing my stuff out, right? So why do I need to stop and get checked? You got the camera right there. Go to the video replay.
There you go.
But
We all need to walk around with red flags, just
right.
like the commercial.
Challenge. I want to challenge that purchase.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have worn the same outfit as you.
But yeah, I just, there are in my view good purposes and uses for AI when it's used correctly. But when you're using it to do radio voice tracking, or you're using it to publish articles and purporting that those are written by humans and they're not, like, I just think that is that to me crosses an ethical line. And see what a lot of these actors were concerned about was, okay, so, and especially today in the CGI world, right? I'm going to use Marvel movies as an example because a lot of what Marvel does involves CGI and AI. And so if they hire Chris Pratt to play a role, and they're scanning him so they can do all the effects and things around him, right?
Mhm.
Well, then the computer has all that information, and then guess what? He's out millions of dollars for the next role, because then they can just, well, we already have him digital. We have a digital, we already have a digital Chris Pratt. So now what you're doing is you're taking future work away from a guy or a woman. You see what I'm saying?
Totally get it, Daryl.
And so that is again where, and I don't know the contract that they agreed to, but I'm sure that the actors have been satisfied that won't be abused, right? That, okay, I'm gonna sign you for $10 million to play a part, Andy, in this movie, and we're gonna end up doing 3 sequels to that movie. But guess what? I'm not gonna hire you to appear in any of those sequels, because I already have your voice and your body and your mannerism. Everything, you've been digitized.
Right.
Because and so now I'm going to be able to make hundreds of millions of dollars on a movie without having to pay you for appearing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was just thinking, I was watching Gone with the Wind 2 days ago, and I was like, it didn't really end. I know they wrote, it didn't end. So how about an ending? And I'm like, well, everybody except for the baby's dead. Right.
But
so
here's the thing that's really weird too, is how right Hollywood has gotten things. Like, look at the Star Trek from the 60s, right? The watches and the phones and the flat screen monitors and computers and all that, right? Mm-hmm. Like the imagination it took, that's come to fruition. By the way, we have Skynet now. I don't think people understand like really what's going on in the world globally. And I know this is
getting deep, Daryl.
This is like, we have Skynet. You know who built Skynet? Elon Musk. Starlink. That's what Skynet is. And so, like, hopefully, because there are lessons to be learned from a lot of movies, right? And the imaginations. Like, again, technology is great when it's used properly. But, like, I mean, it was crazy. I'm a big fan of the Terminator series. And when I was in Seattle, I got to go to the Pop Culture Museum, and they had the Terminator robot there, so I took a picture with it. It was so cool. But like, to think that concept, right, of Skynet and machines taking over and things like that, seeing the technology that's being developed with AI, it's scary to say, Andy, but it doesn't seem implausible to me all of a sudden that this could happen in real life.
We're all going to get sucked in by flying cars, and then and all this other stuff's going to go on the outside. Daryl, it's always game day in Cleveland. For our producer, Meredith Kane, thanks for listening. We'll be back for a post-game edition immediately following, or maybe an hour or so, right after the game against the Rams. He's Daryl. I'm Andy. Thank you, Meredith. It's always game day in Cleveland.